you obviously feel very passionately about these ideas, but you have managed to align your passion with building a brand. You're America's Doctor. Oprah, I think, the first one to call you that, and the world said, yes, he is. And you're seen in 114 countries around the world with your very successful show. But how do you think about managing the brand of Dr. Oz?
Let's define what that brand is. For most of us, and I'm included in this, the brand is about trust. What Oprah gave me, what she called me America's Doctor, was the imprimatur of quality, but more importantly, she put her hand on my shoulder and she said, trust this guy. I think he'll do what's best for you. Now, how do you destroy trust? Well, you do dishonest things. It's still the reason I don't sell anything. I mean, I've been offered 8-figure contracts to sell stuff, and I'm sure it'd be very comfortable to do that. But you wouldn't want your doctor, who's recommending, for example, vitamins, to start selling you vitamins. It would pervert the relationship. A very authentic, real relationship would get destroyed. So I'm meticulous about protecting what I think people expect appropriately, what I would expect if someone like me was out there talking about health issues. It also means you tell the truth, even when it's not comfortable, even when people don't like you for telling the truth. Because although I love when people like me, I even like it more when they respect me. And that's ultimately what you go to your doctor for. You don't want them to lie to you about your cancer. You want them to say, you know what, you got a problem. We can do this together. I'm looking at you in the eyes. We got a moment here. Focus with me. I'm going to give you hope. And John, what is hope? Hope is not the right thing happening all the time. Hope is making sense of what's happening to you. And as long as I can help you make sense of life, then I can fulfill a role, a brand, that historically has always been in our lives. Look, every community, from ancient antiquities till now, always had somebody who was a political leader. They always had a military leader, and they always had a shaman, a healer, someone who could create a quiet moment of solace, who could support you in your emotional and physical ailments. And today, we've lost that touch. Marcus Welby is dead, literally and figuratively. The ability for us to trust a general internist to be that coach to us, to be that teacher for us, because the word doctor comes from Latin root doctore, teacher. We no longer have that connection with our doctor. And it's not just the doctor's fault. Society has changed. Our expectations are different. So to backfill that gap was an opportunity. And to protect the brand, you've got to fill exactly that niche and not go beyond it.
So as you think of the Dr. Oz brand, do you see the brand being just more of what you're doing so well now and it just grows larger and larger and has a bigger world impact? Or do you see the brand extending into areas that you haven't yet explored?
Was a disciple of John Scully. I would absolutely favor the second opportunity, which is to expand the brand and go where no man could think it could go. And I'll give you some examples of how I think about it. Listen, I love my television show. We just launched a magazine, which has been a real joy for me. I'm on 175 markets with our radio programs, 135 with newspaper. I can't keep the numbers straight sometimes, but those are roughly correct numbers. But that's one way of telling the story. If you want to make people healthier, you have to meet them where they are. And where they are right now is on their mobile device. And so we have to take this experience into your home, into your pocket, where I can be a coach for you. But here's the opportunity. Historically, when we gave you advice on what to do, we made two big errors. The first is to assume that we're all the same. Here's how you're going to lose weight. Here are the tips. It doesn't work for everybody because we're all different. The second big mistake we made, it's not only a mistake, it's a limitation, is that I can only tell you what we have researched. So we're limited by last year's or last decade's research. Now, how do we change that? With a mobile device, I can tell you before you know what you should do. And I can actually begin to collect information from you that advances the practice of medicine so that I can tell before any other research is done what is best to do for the John Scullys of the world. What would help you specifically, so I can customize it to you and I can take the information beyond what is currently knowledgeable. And here's the big breakthrough. We become self-aware after a while. We know so much more than the average old-fashioned studies could ever predict about how to prevent a diabetic from having a problem, that after a while, we become the resource that is used. And then hospitals, and this is my vision, and this is what we're doing right now, hospitals begin to say, okay, I want to prevent a heart failure patient from coming back. You guys tell me what to do. At what point do they weigh themselves and come to the hospital? At what point do you say you're good to go? Or take some parsley because it's a natural diuretic, or up your dose of the diuretic the doctor gave you. All those action steps become important. And most importantly, when you're about to take a big bite out of that kielbasa, it'll stop you. It'll say, listen, you take that kielbasa bite, your weight was up yesterday, it was up today, by tomorrow you'll be in the hospital. And guess what? The biggest predictor of whether you're going to live or die when you go to the hospital with heart failure is how much your weight is off. How much swelling have you encountered? So all of a sudden we make a huge difference. We get paid by the insurance companies for keeping the guy out of the hospital. We get your love because we saved your life. We have the trust of the doctors who now begin to use this information because they can customize it to you. We've made it better for everybody, and we've saved money.